All right, everybody. Welcome to a new edition of Blendblazers Podcast with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. Okay, so listen, I feel like I've been out of the studio forever, and I really couldn't get myself together today, but it doesn't matter because I have a great guest today. So it's Black History Month, and I'm trying to get into all the spaces that us amazing African Americans have been into or growing into in leaps and bounds. And I think we all know that entertainment and media is our space. Yes. So I figured, going through my Rolodex, let me see who I can get in to really talk about the world of media and what Hollywood really looks like for African American males. And lo and behold, you guys have seen him. That was like 3 years ago.
Yes,
like 3 years ago when I did my Black Men's panel. He was on my entertainment panel. None other than Mr. Jason Louder. How are you doing today, sir?
I am blessed, my brother. Thank you, Ricardo.
Okay, so I should feel special. Let me put this out there. He just didn't you get off a plane today? Or was it yesterday?
It was last week.
He literally just got off a plane. I'm saying he literally got off a plane, and he is here in studio. I don't take that lightly. I'm so just elated to have you here. I've watched this gentleman after having a conversation with him 3 years ago.
Wow.
Go from Wu-Tang Clan, the series,
yes.
To BMF, to some other stuff that I'll let him tell you about. But go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Absolutely. My name is Jason C. Louder, and I am I'm a lover of life that encompasses acting, coaching, teaching, and it's just a brother. You know what I'm saying? A son, a dedicated boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but in all of that, I'm an abundant lover of life. Period.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say a dedicated boyfriend. That is definitely a new one. Dedicated husband. Side piece is actually a new thing. A dedicated side piece. Boyfriend. You get cool points for that. You get cool points for that.
You know what?
And
I'm gonna say partner. I'll say partner because boyfriend does sound kind of like, oh, I'm not in the 12th grade. So
I wasn't gonna say it, but I was like, oh, that's so cute, boyfriend. That's like he's telling his age. Wait, how old are you?
I just turned 47 Saturday.
Okay, yeah, I'm 43, so we in the same space.
Okay.
I was like, that's so like 90s and stuff to say boyfriend. I was like, yeah, we in the same age group.
Yes,
we gotta
sir.
be because there's that.
That's that.
All right, so tell us some of the stuff where are people seeing you?
Okay. Wow. So most recently, I think a lot of people have seen me on Country Wayne skits. I've popped up on some of country.
Really?
Yeah. I play a Jamaican guy named Ross.
Wait, do you have a Jamaican accent?
I do.
Are you from Dallas?
No, I'm not. One of my best friends, he's from Jamaica, so we used to tease him when we were little, and lo and behold, look at that. He actually I reached out to him and said, hey man, I need some help on this accent. But we were in the same rap group, so from teasing that ended, and then we got really close, and so we're in the same rap group, and so he would assist me with my accent. Yeah.
I want to hear this accent.
Oh,
and you should have known that was coming.
I knew it was coming.
You should have known that was coming. I've got to hear this.
I saw the tentacles come up. I was like,
okay, so I know you know this. To look at you, one would think that you are
yep.
like Caribbean or something. So
absolutely.
To actually hear you pull this up, I got to hear this. So what does this sound like?
I mean, me have to know. Me don't know. Me don't know what to come when that. Me have to start over. Me have to come back. Me have to come things and things come easy. People think they come easy, but me have to come life. Life is hard, and me have to live life. When you live life, things like that. You have to live life, and the abundance from Jah Rastafari. Blessings on blessings on blessings, King.
That almost seems natural to you. That's kind of concerning.
Well, you know what? It's just listening and watching and learning. And
actually, that could be like a whole new role for you. Like I can play the Jamaican man number 3 in the thing. Okay, so I will say that I first saw you Black Lightning.
Black Lightning.
That's when I was like, oh, he's in Black. That was my favorite show. I'm still feel some kind of way that was canceled.
Me
but
too.
They got 4 seasons? I think they got 4 seasons out of it, and it's on Netflix. So
and it's on Netflix. Yeah.
I'll take what I can get.
Amen.
I'll take what I can get.
Amen.
But what else? What else have the people seen you in?
So yes, also on there's a movie on Tubi called Preaching Lies. That's been recent, and another movie on Tubi that just dropped is called Gerald's Hands.
You're in that with Andrew.
With Andrew, yes.
I keep saying, shouts out to Andrew.
Andrew
I was
and
going
Nas,
to watch that, but now I definitely need to watch. I didn't know you were in it. What are you playing?
I'm playing his psychiatrist.
Really?
Yeah, I'm playing Dr. Timothy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Moti. Yeah, so that was amazing. Nas and Andrew put together a beautiful story, and so that's a blessing that I was able to be a part of that. And so that is continuing to be a blessing that it's on Tubi now. You know what I'm saying? She fought hard for that. And so that's like, wow, man.
Tubi seems to be the new place. Like I've
It
seen
is. Yeah, man.
so many like other types of movies, independent
movies
make their way to Tubi.
They
And I was like,
do.
interesting.
Which is very interesting. And I think it's a great opportunity for people who have not had their chance to get their films screened or their films, you know what I'm saying, distributed. That's like Tubi is like, hey, come to us. We got you.
I'm going to look into that. I wonder what their splits and dividends and stuff are.
That's a great question.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, Courtney can help you with that too, because Courtney Arlett, you know what I'm saying, another one of my good friends, she produced Pretty for a Big Girl, and I'm also on Pretty for a Big Girl.
What is that about?
Oh,
that
man.
just
It's an amazing.
It sounds like Monique Fat Girl ish.
It's a beautiful story about plus size women who are looking for love because they love too, and so it's telling their story about what they go through on this pursuit of love and happiness.
Are you a love interest?
I am a love interest.
Oh my goodness, I gotta say. I don't think I've ever seen you as a love interest. You're like. Yeah. Wow, this is okay. What's the name of this again?
Pretty for a Big Girl.
It's on Tubi.
It's on YouTube. You can look at. You can find that on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna look that. Pretty for a Big Girl.
Yeah.
Okay, you as a love interest. What was that like? Wait, they're like kissing scenes and intimate scenes.
So here's the thing, the role that I play, I'm a different kind of love interest. I cause havoc and chaos.
Oh, you toxic?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, there's that. Because wait, in Black Lightning, you played what?
I was like
When you like a snitch or something?
I was like the informant. I was an informant,
a
but
snitch.
Well, you know,
a snitch. I mean, let's not mince words. A snitch. Let's not mince words. A snitch.
I was the informant, and I was like a street. I was I guess, a street hustler who turned into a businessman. You know, because I ended up owning the restaurant or the bar. It was called Tanner's Tavern, and my name was Frank Tanner, but my street name was Two Bits, and so Two Bits ended up owning. Yeah, he was a reformed street criminal who became a business entrepreneur. Yeah, so I was like, that's beautiful, man. I like, look at that. I said, wow, look at this. Yeah, and shout out to the whole team, to the whole Black Lightning team, man. Cress and Akil, you know, Marbrock Akil, Salim Akil, just beautiful people, beautiful production, beautiful opportunity. And so, yeah, we hope to see that rebirth sometime soon.
I'm all about that life. I loved that show.
Yeah.
And plus the representation. I mean, we have Black Panther, but it's a one and done. You see it in the movies,
right? You
can stream it, but to have to see that weekly. And the development, the characters, lightning and thunder and stuff.
Yes.
But I think they would have had issues though, because in the end, China is that she decided she didn't want to act anymore.
Correct.
So I think, well, they did replace her. At the end.
They did.
Put her in space.
Put her in space, yeah.
And she came back, I think, like fight herself or something.
Yes.
But yeah, that's
It would have been difficult, and I think that the network may have had some creative differences with the creative team, and so that's where some other stuff kind of came into place.
It would have been a means to an end because CW has pretty much canceled all those shows. So it would have been a means to an end.
Absolutely.
But if we petition Netflix enough,
right,
they might actually pick it up.
That's where
get it going because superheroes are in.
They're in,
and you should audition for Static Shock.
Somebody
you should keep your. You have the look.
Yeah.
You should audition for Static Shock.
Man, Ricardo, I would love to. Somebody else put that out there, and I was like, wow, okay. So let's, universe, you hear us? Static Shock, okay, done and done. Yes.
But you have more current work too.
Yes, more current work. So I actually have a show. I'll be in a actually, was it? Yes, it's a movie. It's a movie on Netflix called They Cloned Tyrone.
That's out now, isn't it?
Did it drop already?
Wait, 'cause I've seen
Jamie Foxx, John Boyega, and Tiana Paris. They are the leads. So I think it drops the same day as this. Yeah, I think it drops the 13th the 13th, or the 10th, or this Friday. One of the two.
He's so busy, y'all. He can't remember when dates are dropped. I'm like mad at it. Like that. This is how busy he is. Like this is how busy he is. But I've heard that though. Either I saw a commercial for it or I heard about it. But I remember that because I was like, they cloned Tyrone. This could go really good or really bad.
Really bad.
So I was like, this ought to be interesting.
It's going to be so interesting, and I hope people really get the undertone, the inner message, because there's a deeper message in the movie, and I hope they get it. Yeah, it's really, yeah. I'm just gonna say that it's a deeper message. I'll just put that out there. And then I'm also doing a independent feature film called Cinnamon. It's about a young boy who goes on the wrong path and gets into some illicit businesses and theft, and gets into the crime syndicate world. And I'm his mechanic who kind of like helps guide him into, kind of helps guide him, but doesn't quite help guide him. I'm teaching him life lessons through tough love. And so, I do some things to him that
the fact that you are stumbling over your words, I feel like I should be very worried about this depiction of this character in this particular movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you what, because I'm not going to ask you what unless you want to share.
No. It's a good thing. These aren't bad. These aren't like things that you wouldn't see somebody do. You know what I'm saying?
These are like street things. Like street initiation.
Yeah, street initiation type things.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can get there.
Yeah.
But there's a big one in the bag. What's the big one?
The big one in the bag is BMF. Yeah. So get ready. I'll be appearing on the last 2 episodes of BMF this season 2, and potentially something happens in season 3. We don't know yet. So just kind of like be aware, be prepared.
I don't watch it, but I actually might, because when people are in stuff that I know, then I'm inclined to watch it. I couldn't get into Power, so I was like, I don't really.
You know what? And I watched the first season of Power, and I was like, wow, this is really. And then once I kind of like just left it alone, it kept going, and I'm like, oh snap! Then now people say, oh no, this is season 5, the spinoff, and I'm like, oh, it's too late now.
Literally, I'm like, do I need to start from ground zero when I watch this? Am I not going to know anything? This is the one. That's the one Mary J. Blige in it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I've seen her acting the fool in a lot of clips. I'm like, oh, so Mary Mary always been gangster. So let's be very clear. She's always been gangster.
She has been gangster.
She's
for
just
a
really
long
like
time.
tapping into it to do these things.
Yeah, she's getting a chance to play with it a lot more. Yeah.
There's that. There's that. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, because
Yes.
you did not set out to be an actor.
I did not.
How did it start?
Wow. So short story long. I taught elementary school. I was a teacher.
What grade?
I taught kindergarten through 8th. Well, my first school, I was kindergarten through 5th grade. I was the PE teacher and also the computer technology teacher. So I did both of those from K through 5. That was for 7 years. Then I transitioned to another school, and I taught kindergarten through 8th grade physical education and computer technology. So that was my space. I was in the education space, like fully. And prior to that, I was a rapper. And so I was in a rap group in college. Yeah, we were in a rap group called Unknown Seeds, and we were doing our thing, doing our music, on the grind, heavy hitting. And then we all moved to Atlanta and just kind of kept grinding, kept hitting the pavement, grinding. And then, of course, we said, okay, you know what? 3 of us were teachers by day and rappers by night.
Wait, I want to get into this name, because Unknown Scenes sound like y'all were prolific rappers.
Seeds, yes.
Like y'all were prolific rappers who were out to. I'm kind of smart. I have days.
I see you.
I have days. I'm kind of smart. I have days.
Yes.
Disclaimer: 4 degrees. Right here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just odd, because most people just name something after some hood stuff, but to say seeds means something's being planted. So I figured y'all are prolific rappers who probably had a different type of flow.
Look at this brother. That's I love it. That's exactly that's who we were. Unknown, because we represented all unknown persons, places, and things. And anytime you plant a seed, like you said, it germinates and it grows. So we're planting seeds in unknown persons, places, and things. And so our message would hopefully plant seeds of growth, and those seeds would grow into, this type of revolutionary community activist, community minded,
I'm
person.
fighting everything in me not to put you on the spot, but this rapping thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Fight
trying
it.
so hard
Fight
to
it.
not put you on the spot.
Fight
you
it.
keep giving me stuff. You keep giving me ammunition. I'm like, a rapper?
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
This I gotta hear. But
So yeah. So the rap group, we did our thing, and then people guys started getting married, started having children. It was like, oh, we can't do this and feed the family, so we got to make a decision. So some of us kept at it. Some of us said, hey, I got to put it to the side. And then one of the guys in the group, he called me one day while I was leaving soccer practice. So I actually was a soccer coach as well. I taught soccer as well.
So he was a sports all around guy.
Yeah, just all around.
Actually, I want to not like you because I substitute and it's usually K through third. So you're the fun guy. You're the one we drop them off and we're like, oh my God, I got an hour break. Let's go to Wendy's. Yes. Let me take a nap. And then we get them back from you and they're all hyped and ready to tear up the classroom again after we've mellowed them out for the last 4 hours. So I feel like I shouldn't like you, but because I kind of know you, I'm going to. But yeah, you're the person we really hate.
Oh,
like,
100%.
You're the person we really hate.
Oh man, and it would hurt me sometimes because the teachers would say, "Well, you're not going to PE today." I'm like, "No, you gotta let them go to PE. You can't punish them with not going to PE. Like, don't do that."
And then they really want to go. That's the annoying part. Like I continuously try to bribe them into not going outside when it's cold. I'm like, we can watch a movie, and they're like, no, we want to go outside, but it's 30 degrees outside. They don't care.
They don't care.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. It could be snowing, and they like
they want to make snowmen.
Yes.
Like I'm like, but it's what? Just get your coats.
Get your coats. Let's go.
Just get your coats.
I love it. So yes, needless to say, he called me about the soccer practice. As I was leaving, he said, "Hey man, there's an audition at Georgia State. You should go." I'm like, "Audition for what?" He's like, "For this play, Shaka's sister." So we were going to be managed by Shaka Zulu's older sister. And so we were kind of in works, but it didn't pan out. So nevertheless, we were still in contact with the family, whatever. So he's like, "Shaka's sister is doing a play at Georgia State. You should go." And I'm like, "Bro, I haven't acted." But then I forgot I was in a play at Georgia Southern, my alma mater. I was in a play, but it was about us. It was about our real life, so I wasn't really acting. Yeah. It was kind of like, okay, this is how we came up as a rap group, but it was set back in the early '80s in New York. So the guy who wrote it, he was like, "These are y'all. This is y'all. So y'all don't really have to act. I'm telling y'all's story." So I was like, "Well, I've never acted for real before." He was like, "But you the hype man." So I was the hype man of the group. I was the one who would jump off the stage, who would,
So you were the Flavor Flav.
I was the Flavor Flav.
You were the Flavor Flav.
I was the Flavor Flav.
I could so see that for you. I could so see that for you. Like, like, yeah, get up.
Yo,
I could see that.
If I had some of our footage,
I was about to say,
I'm gonna send it to you. I think I have some of our footage from some of our old shows.
I cannot.
Woo! So he was like, "You the hype man. That's what you do." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go." So I went down to Georgia State, went to I guess wherever they were having auditions, and they were like, "Hey, okay, go ahead and here's your sides." And I said, "My what? Sides?" And I was like, "Okay, what am I supposed to just want me to read it?" She was like, "Oh, have you acted before?" I was like, "No, not really." She said, "Oh, okay." Sit down, look over this. We'll call your name when we're ready. So I looked over and I was like, "Oh, wow, this is powerful." Okay. So they called my name. I went into the room. It was 6 directors because these were called short plays. So they had 6 short plays they were doing. So I was like, "Oh man." So the first one was, I read it and I was like, "Oh wow." So she said, "Okay, you're gonna act with her, with the director." And it was Shaka's sister, Asante Wasuni Ali. So we go back and forth. I'm like, whoa. Something just happened. Something hit me as we were reading these scenes, reading the lines, and I was like, I feel connected to her. I was like, this is real. This is real. And so she was like, "Thank you." And then the next person was like, "Hey, can you read mine too?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I got hers. We did that again, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is powerful." Next person said, "Hey, you mind reading mine too? But can you have a Jamaican accent?" And I was like, "As a matter of fact, I can."
Your look is the reason for that. I just want to remind you.
No, totally. I completely get it. And so I was like, yes. And I did that one. And then one last director was like, "Hey, just for kicks, can you read mine too?" And I was like, "Sure." And so later on that night, the department chair, Dr. Charlene Holmes, called me. She was like, "Hey, Jason Louder." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Okay, so this doesn't normally happen, but you got cast in all of the plays."
First time out the gate? If that ain't fate.
Yo, fate. And she
That
said,
ain't
but
fate.
I can't let you do that because you've never acted before, so you can choose 2 of them. And I was like,
That's
okay,
fair.
that's fair. That's fair. So the 2 I chose was she's now Dr. Asante Wasuni Ali. She's a professor of Africana Studies at DePaul University. But her play was called Our Liberated Justice. And it was about her parents who were freedom fighters. And they got framed for robbing a Brinks truck. Oh. And the government brought a military tank and bulldozed their house down in Mississippi. Wow. So they had to flee and leave and go to Cuba. So that was that story. And then the other one was called Salam. It was about a Muslim terrorist who was one of the terrorists that ran the airplanes into the Twin Towers for 9/11, and I played a terrorist. So yeah, man, those are my first 2.
I mean, the whole thing's kind of creepy because it's like you get all 4, but these are very deep stories, like out the gate. Yeah. To have to exhibit that much emotion and being that vested. Yeah, that's a lot.
It was a lot.
That's a lot.
It was a lot, and I have to say, that was my initial training into the world of acting. That was my introduction, and I fell in love. The bug bit me, and it bit me completely, and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it. And so I mean, she taught me so much as far as a director. She showed me the different steps to creating a character and the character development and script analysis. And that was just in one play. And so I was like, okay, where can I get more of this? So I started taking classes with everybody. I was going to Greg Allen Williams, who actually, shout out to Greg Allen Williams. He told me, he said, brother, get a Jamaican accent and get an African accent, and you're going to be working for the rest of your life because that's just what you look. That's your look. Mm-hmm. So he said, if you can tap into that, then you're going to be working. And somebody was like, well, he don't want to be typecast. He was like, what's the key word in typecast? Cast. He's going to work. He can change that eventually one day, someday. But if you are cast, you're doing the work. And I was like, wow, man. So I went there. I went to Blueprint for Hollywood. I went to Drama Inc. I was just taking classes, and I was auditioning for plays around Atlanta, all around Atlanta. Just play. I said, okay, there's a play here. I was using this old website called Love to Act.
I mean, it's very distinctive.
Love to Act.
Very distinctive.
That's very distinctive, right?
Very distinctive.
So I was using that to find auditions, and then I was at church, and one of the guys at the church, he was working on his theater ministry. So I was in a couple of his productions, and it was great. Mark Anthony, he did some amazing work, and so I did that, and I just continued just to follow this love, and I just kept getting opportunities, and then eventually I got an agent. Once again, my whole career has been serendipitous because I was in a play. One of the parents at school at my second school, she was like, "Hey, I heard that you were an actor, and I'm doing a play at this church, and one of the actors dropped out, and could you replace him?" And I was like, "Sure." So I went to that. I did that play, and the director, she pulled me to the side. She said, "Hey, so I work with Tyler Perry, and I think you're really good. And so, do you have an agent?" And I was like, "No." She was like, "I want to introduce you to my agent." I said, "Okay, fine, great." Got on a call with the agent. They said, "We don't normally do this, but we want to bring you on board right now after our conversation." And I was like, "Sure." So everything was just like, wow, I'm supposed to be doing this. Every sign led to me supposed to be walking in this purpose. And I asked the principal of the school. I said, "Hey, Miss Jackson," shout out to Miss Yvette Jackson. She's a revolutionary. She's a freedom fighter. Opened up a school along with Dr. Well, she's not a doctor, but I call her Dr. Charlene Rosenberg. They opened up a school called Imhotep Academy. And so that's why I was teaching at Imhotep. And I said, "Hey, can you have more than one passion?" She said, "Absolutely. You can have several passions, and you need to follow all of them." And I was like, "Okay, bet." So the following year, they called me to the office and was like, "Hey, we are excited about you doing your acting, and we think that you need to follow that and pursue that. So we're not going to renew your contract for next year." And I was like, "Oh."
gotta felt some kind of way. So wait. So you're gonna make that decision for me? You do realize I have to pay my bills in the interim. Right. But okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Wow.
Yeah. So
that. What did you say?
I said, well, no, maybe I can come twice a week, or I can just, we can figure something out. They were like, no, this is gonna. We feel like you really need to do that, pursue that. And
did you feel like that was genuine?
Honestly, in a way, I did, because I was missing a lot of days anyway. I would call out because I had to go to auditions, or people were covering for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like fair. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it was like, can we work this out? Can we can we talk about
it? Not immediately, like.
But the thing was, what I learned was that sometimes you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone.
This is very true.
And they pushed me all the way out. And so I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I called my cousin. I'm like, hey bro, I'm not gonna be teaching anymore. He was like, okay, well, I'm doing DoorDash and Postmates. You could do that.
Shout out to those companies, because
yes, indeed,
I've done that for a hot minute. And
yes,
like, I don't have to be bothered. We just do it when you want to.
Facts.
And keep it moving.
So I did that. Excuse me. And then my agent called and said, hey, do you want to do voiceover? And I was like, sure. I've never done it before. She was like, okay, we have an audition for you. I said, what do I do? She said, just go in the closet, cover your head up, get on your phone, and just say this, do the audition. And I was like, okay. So I did that. And about a week later, she called and was like, hey, they want you to, they want to call you on a call because you have a callback. So they want you to do the same thing you did, but they want to hear it. They want to walk you through it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, what do I do? She was like, go back into your closet, get on your phone. Do you have a laptop? And I was like, yes. And so she said, get on your laptop so they can direct you as you're doing it. And I was like, all right, cool. So we did that. 2 days later, she said, you booked the job. I was like, oh my God. So it was a voiceover for Adidas. It was a national commercial for Adidas. And I was the voice of Adidas for 1 year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, that was a nice check too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, before you go, there's like 3 points I want to get into.
Got it.
That you've already covered that I really want to expound upon.
Yes.
Typecasting. Is that a thing? Because I have a friend that is in a show now, and the character that they cast him, and I was like, this is not you. You don't act like this. Is this really something you want to do? Because I remember, I think Mekhi Phifer.
Yes.
He said that he played Bubba Gump in Forrest Gump. He said he could not get a job after that.
Michael T.
It's Mekhi something, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like Michael T. Mike. It looks like Mekhi, but it's Michael T. That's how you pronounce it.
That is?
Yeah, Michael T.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
For y'all that don't know who we talking about, the guy from Wait and Exhale,
yes,
Troy. That's the guy we're talking about. But he said
yeah.
after he did Forrest Gump, everybody thought he spoke like that. So he was like, he couldn't get a job for years because they thought that he actually talked like that. So is typecasting a thing? Ooh. Especially if you do it a lot. If you act the same part. Yeah. Because we see that with some actresses. Like there are some actresses that we were like, yep, that's Lisa Ray's one. She typically kind of stays in that space the villainous, and we love it because that's what she does well. But
absolutely.
Is that because of typecast or is that a choice?
You know what? I think because this is a visual medium, people see what they're gonna see. So I may not be a hoodlum. I may not be a criminal, but in the space that we exist in this industry, unfortunately, some of those stereotypical, you know what I'm saying, images, they play a part. So someone says, oh yeah, locks, oh, crime or drugs or gang, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, tattoos, oh, that's, you got to do gang, you got to be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you do get into the very intricate space of being cast in those roles. You know what I'm saying? And so what we have to do sometimes is work it, for some people, accept it for what it is right now and then work on changing that, you know what I'm saying, later on. Because I will say this, I was blessed just to, I can say it. So I'll be on an episode of NCIS coming up. Blessings on blessings on blessings.
Bravo.
Shout out to my management team, Brevard Entertainment, and to my agent, People Store. You know what I'm saying? Like, just blessings on blessings. But I play the doctor, a professor.
Really?
A professor. I'm a professor.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're saying, hey, no. And shout out to the queens that wrote the story. They're like, no, we do exist in this space.
True.
We
Very true.
are educated. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take a village to help change some of those, you know what I'm saying, some of those narratives and some of those images. But yes, typecasting is real. And it's up to us to either say yay or nay. Sometimes some people say, well, I'm not doing that because I don't resonate. I'm like, all right, cool. That's to each his own, and I don't judge anybody for accepting or declining whatever they do, you know, for making their choices. For me, I feel like, listen, I am an actor. I'm a creative artist. I can portray any role that is called upon me if not only if it resonates with me, but if I can find something that I can relate to. If it's like, for Cressy, I was like, wow, I've seen him before. That's my homeboy's uncle. Okay, I can connect with that. Yeah, because I know who he is. You know what I'm saying? No judgment, and that's something else that we have to do. We're trained to do, or we're taught to do as actors. Never judge your character. You can never judge your character, because once you judge them,
Yeah, it's hard to portray them.
You know what I mean? So yeah, typecasting is definitely a thing, and it's up to us to work on changing the narratives whenever we do have an opportunity to.
So it's more of a say yes until you can say no.
That's it.
Okay, I can get there. Leading man status.
Wow.
Like, how do you? I told you I was gonna ask you everything I normally can't ask. I'm gonna ask you. You know, my uncle's an actor, but I don't want to ask him shit.
Okay.
Leading, so Cress was the lead in Black Lightning.
Absolutely.
Which was interesting because I think most of us only know him from Scooter
Yeah,
from Living
from
Single.
Living Single.
Which I guess he was kind of a leading man for Khadijah of sorts.
Of sorts. Absolutely.
But what does that look like? Do the roles look different for leading man status? Is there a different? Because when I think about this a lot. There are a lot of young black men out now that are doing shows.
Yes.
But only a distinctive few of them get to leading man status, like Michael and Jonathan. And they're not that, well, Michael is, but Jonathan's not that old. We met him in Lovecrest, which was like 2 years ago.
Right.
And from there, the guy's in Marvel. Like, he's in a Marvel. He's the villain, in a Marvel movie that starts a whole nother segment of Marvel. How does that work? Like, is there certain things you need to do to build to that, or is it just a luck of the draw? People just fall into that space.
And that's so interesting that you know, that even inside of that, even inside of where, you know, Michael B. Jordan and
Jonathan Majors.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've had this conversation before, and I feel like there's a space that we exist in. There's a space that exists in this industry that says, okay, this is what a leading man looks like. You know what I'm saying? So there is a standard or a general prototype for what a leading man looks like. Handsome, you know, physically fit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I was like, well, yes, and you look at Lakeith Stanfield. You know what I mean? He is one of the leads of Atlanta, and he's been a lead on a few other films, right?
This is very true.
You know, you look at Daniel Kaluuya. You know what I'm saying? From Get Out and from Nope. Leading, you see what I'm saying? So I'm like, hey, he is the lead of the movie, of the show. He may not be perceived as the leading man, that traditional look, but he is number one on the call sheet. So he is the lead, and he's a man. So I'm like, okay, let's yes and that thing. So for me, the leading man can look like anything now. For me, that's where I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, that old way of thinking that may not exist, or it still exists, but now we're shifting the paradigm a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So the paradigm is shifting a little bit more now. So that's kind of my take on the whole leading man idea. Because for me, once again, I'm an artist, a creative artist, so I can portray the role that I've been called to portray, as long as I do it authentically and honestly. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, put me on the call sheet. For me, I'm like, I can be number 1, I could be number 2, I could be number 55. I just want to help tell this story in the best way that I know how to.
You're so noble. You know, you're so noble. You're just so noble.
That's my spirit.
I know. It's the thing I like about you the most. Agents. What should people be looking for? What is a real expectation for an agent? Like, I want to ask all the questions I can.
That's
because
good.
You know, people, especially since independent spaces are now more prominent.
Yes.
But what role does the agent play? I mean, because, you can go do an independent film, but if you're really trying to get somewhere, do you really need an agent? And if you get one, should I expect that a report every month that says you submit for this, and this? Or is it kind of okay, well, I pay you and I trust you to get it done? What should this look like for those that are just coming and want to get an agent?
Wow. Everybody operates differently, right? So they say your agent works for you. That's what that's the general idea. Like, your agent works, they're working for you. But my thing is like, no, we are working together in partnership to help push my career forward. You know what I'm saying? So the agent's job is to get you in the room. That's their job, to get you opportunities. And through submissions, that's what they do. They submit you for certain roles. They submit you for certain projects. And then it's up to the casting and the producers if they're going to call you in. So they may submit you for 100 projects, but maybe the casting is like, we'll call them in for 2. Because you may not fit their bill. They may be looking for something particular. So you never know what that. So it's like, okay, it's like a hit or miss thing with submissions. But essentially, your agents are, quote unquote, working for you. And I'm going to say it in my terms, they're working with you to push your career forward, right? And then they do have these things called submission reports. And as actors, we can request our submission reports, right? Some agents they may not be privy to sharing them. Some do, some don't. It just depends. I've heard stories about some agents. It's like, no, you don't need your submission report. Just trust me. And it's like, yes, yes.
But that retainer I'm probably paying you says otherwise.
Right, that's correct. So that they do, there's a 10% retainer fee. You know what I'm saying? There's a 10% commission that you pay your agent for every job that you book. You pay 10%.
So in the interim, is there a retainer that you pay to?
No. If you're paying an agent a retainer, or if you're paying them money to work for you, then their commission is what they received in exchange for what they do for you.
So wait, you're saying this is kind of like I was gonna say the wrong thing. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay.
Personal injury lawyer. They take on a case that they think they can win because in the winning is when they get paid. Is it kind of the ideology?
That's the kind of the ideology, yes.
So they have to really believe in you to take you on.
Amen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And some agencies say, hey, you know what? We're going to take on a lot of clients because the more we have, the more opportunities we're going to get paid. You know what I'm saying? And some are like, no, I really believe in these 5. And I'm going to work my butt off for these 5 or 10 until we can see some fruits. Yeah, see the fruits of our labor. But, there's a few, they call those boutique agencies. They don't have as many clients.
They're more specific on the kind of clients that they take on.
Absolutely.
Okay, because my question about that was, are agents kind of like old school realtors? Because, old school realtors, if you were a realtor, you had access to things a normal person wouldn't have. So that's why you had to have a realtor in the old day, because they had the list of listings and things of that magnitude. So in my head, I was like, is that the role an agent plays? That there's certain things you can get me in the room on that I can't do on my own because you have those connections.
Your analogies are freaking phenomenal, Ricardo.
I told you I'm kind of smart.
I mean, no, you are. I love it. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's it. So yes, that's exactly how they are. Yes, how they operate. And so some agents. So therefore, like realtors, some realtors have more access to certain, spaces than others do. So depending on who your agent is, that may give you more access to different rooms. So that's why some people say, I'm leaving my agent because I need to go to a better, or what I'm saying, someone who has, and I get it. I completely get it. But I am a loyal person.
I knew you were gonna say loyal.
It was and it was hard for me to transition to a new agency from my first agent.
When did you make that decision? When did you know it was time to switch agents? And at what point, where were you in your career when that happened?
I want to say it was after Wu-Tang. And I was like, okay, the opportunities haven't been as large as they could be with coming off of 2 recurring guest star roles, right? After those are 2 recurring guest star roles on 2 huge television shows. So it was like, okay, I really feel like this is a prime time to really say, okay, I want to be, we can have him in the rooms for major motion pictures, for new TV shows, for, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, that was when it was like, okay, my agent may not have the capacity or the bandwidth to provide that. So now it's time to move to an agency that does.
So you felt like you plateaued. With him, you plateaued.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, if I really want to get to the next level, then I'm going to have to. Did you have somebody in mind, or did you?
I had several agencies in mind, but once again, shout out to my management team who helped. They helped steer me, and they helped open up that conversation with this particular agency because they've been working with several agents. So your manager is also there to help guide your career as well, but they're more hands-on. They're like, hey, okay, you know what? We need to get you a publicist for this opportunity right here. Let's go ahead and put you in the space. I'm talking to different agencies because we want to get you more representation. I know a producer who produces this short film or this independent film or this TV show. I can get you in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the manager is there. They help to manage.
So you should have an agent and a manager.
Well, you know what? I'm not saying you should. I'm saying it's great to have a team. Anytime you can build your team, you're putting yourself in a greater position to level up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not, and if you just have an agent, that's fine. That's fine, and it's not just, if you have an agent, you're doing great. I want to say you're doing great because now you have someone who can get you in the room, the manager helps steer that. They open up some other doors, then you might have a publicist, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I work with publicists, so I know the role they play.
Yeah, and then you have a lawyer. See, and I know other actors who have a publicist, a lawyer, a personal assistant. I'm like, whoa, crap. So their team is like pretty much huge. But until you can get there, I think just with an agent, you're doing great.
So does everybody else operate like the agent, or are you actually paying the rest of them retain? I know lawyers like retainers.
Yes, they do. Lawyers like retainers.
They so I'm like, they ain't trying to hear I believe in you. No. You need to retain my services
right.
So that if something happens, I'm here, because without it, you open. You flapping in the wind. You flapping in the wind.
So the manager and the agent, they operate like the realtor. They get paid on commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let's dispel some myths.
Love it.
Line learning. How hard is that?
Line learning. Wow, you're saying
like
memorizing your lines.
Because I thought I was watching something. I was like, yeah, I could be an actor. And I was like, they had a scene where they were going over lines. I was like, wait, I have to memorize these things and be able to do them, because it's easy to watch y'all do it.
Yes.
But we don't know if that was a 50-page script that you had to actually go through to memorize maybe the 5 lines you have. Yes. Like, what does that look like? Like, is it? And I know it's different for everything, but how hard is it to memorize them? What kind of timelines are y'all looking at when they give you the script to memorize it? What does that process look like?
It just depends. It depends on the project. It depends on television. Television works faster, right? Television, you don't have a lot of time. You might get hired on a Monday and you're shooting on that Friday. You know what I'm saying? So that's the time that you have to and you may only have 1 page of dialogue, right? Or sometimes you might have 5 pages of dialogue, but that's what you got. And then sometimes you might get on set and they say, okay, you know, we threw that away. This is the page that we want. We have a rewrite. We rewrote the script or this scene. Here you go. You got 20 minutes. Yeah. So, yeah, man. So I think that's when training comes into play. So I took classes and I said, let me soak my mind. Let me get myself into spaces to where other people are doing the same thing I'm doing. And that's where you build your tribe. And we were pushing each other and we were growing from each other. So some person says, hey, I learned my lines by I record it and then I just play it back over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Some person says, hey, I write mine down. Once I learn it, I write it down. So make sure that I know it. You know what I'm saying? So you have different techniques. And like you said, if it's that 20-minute, the script change, here you go, 20 minutes. You got to pull from whatever. Like, all right, let me just read over this. Let me read over. Okay, got it. All right, boom. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a technique. And I think with television, it's a little bit, because it's faster. Yes, it moves faster, but then they can say, okay, cut. Take 2. Let's try it again. Cut. But you know, with theater, which is where I first started acting, my foundation is theater. So it's like, okay, we rehearse and you rehearse and you rehearse and you rehearse and you rehearse. Then when you're on stage, there's no cut. So if you forget something, you better make that shit. You better make that shit up, or lean on your scene partner to guide you and to help you get back into the, yeah. So different people have different techniques for memorizing their scripts. Yeah.
Okay, so my almost last question.
Okay.
Set differences, like being on, because I know Black Lightning was a predominantly African American cast. And probably everybody that was behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But now you've done something like NCIS, which is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a lot more inclination on a primarily African American scene? Like, is there special concessions they make? Is it more understanding, or is it all kind of standard when you're going on all these different sets that this is the expectation? We need to get it done in this,
right?
Or is it, well, no, we got a little more time to play with because Akil and them have done it for years, so they have a lot more space to be able to say, okay, well, we've done 20 takes, but it's okay, we can do it 21st because the studio, they know us, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Like, does it look different going across different stages?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because it does. Every set is going to look different. I forgot to say this. I was blessed to work on The Wonder Years for an entire season.
The new one?
Yes. Yeah. I was Don Cheadle's stand-in. So I was the voice, but I was a narrator on set. Don Cheadle couldn't come every day and do the narration, so he does it on.
Nice. That's ABC money.
That's ABC
That's
money.
ABC money.
Amen.
So
Amen. So, but I was blessed to see how I was able to take a back seat and watch how a professional production runs every single day. And some days they were trapped for time, and other days they were like, okay, we did it 4 times. Let's try it one more time and see what happens, So just watching and seeing how they flow. The director, Ken Whittingham, and Saladin Patterson, he's the creator of the show. Like, they were there every day. And so their guidance but then it wasn't just them by themselves making decisions. It was other people they trusted the decoration team to make the decisions and to determine, okay, this is what the set looks like. This is what it needs. They trusted hair and makeup, so everybody had to work together so that they could so we could make our day. And so because we had a young person on set, he couldn't work 12-hour days.
Yeah.
He can only work 8 hours.
So I had to get them 8 hours.
Get them 8 hours in. Some days it was tighter than others, I'll tell you that much.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
And with NCIS, they were moving so fast. I was like, whoa. They were shooting 2 scenes at two scenes at a time. So they would be shooting my scene, and then they would be shooting LL's scene around the corner. I'm like, whoa, this is insane. Yeah, man. I was like, okay. Paramount Pictures. You know what I'm saying? That was Paramount.
I mean, do you get anxious every time you have to do them?
You know what? I do, but that's a good thing. That means that I'm alive. That means that I'm still learning. I'm still growing. You know what I mean? And I don't want to ever stop growing and learning. That's my biggest.
Because I just want to make sure it wasn't just me. Because I'm like, people like you do it so effortlessly. No, before it starts, I'm like, okay, let's okay. And then he says, go on. I'm like, okay, so welcome to the Blendblazers. Yeah, it's. I just want to make sure it wasn't just me. That just it happens every time I get ready to do something.
Every time.
It happens every time. Okay, last thing.
Yes.
So, what do you know now that you didn't know then that you would tell people aspiring to get to where you've been or where you're going? Like probably some technical stuff, like I should have gotten an agent earlier, or I should have said no to that. Like some things like that, some practical stuff that you know now that you're like, yeah, don't do that.
Right.
Do this because this will lead you to there. You can skip the middle ground that I learned in. You can skip that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or?
Oddly enough, it's not something that I learned. It's something that I know for certain, 100%. If you don't get training, this thing is gonna you're gonna be lost. I say get in class, learn different techniques. That's something that I'm still like, hey, I want to get into a class next month. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to always be as efficient and effective as I can be as a creative, as an actor, right? I want to have as many tools that I can pull from as possible. But if I don't get the training, I'm not gonna have that.
Okay, so let me ask you this in that thought.
Yes.
So how do I pick a class? Because I've seen plenty of classes.
Yes, indeed.
Does experience in the industry make a huge difference? Like if I sit in a Kim Fields class versus a, I don't know, I don't want to call another name.
Right,
but
right,
versus
right.
somebody who's not have been in the industry as long as she has. Does that make a huge difference?
It makes an extreme difference. It makes an extreme difference.
Because those classes tend to cost more.
They
when
do.
you get in with experienced actors.
They do.
But it's worth it. You're saying it's worth it.
I think it's 100% worth it. And I think when you invest in your craft, when you invest in yourself, it's gonna you're going to win. When you invest in yourself, right? When you bet on yourself, you're gonna win. But it takes an investment in yourself as well, right? And so there are other areas where you say, okay, I may not have the financial wherewithal to be able to pay for Kim Fields class, so I'm going to go to you might go to a West End Art Center, and they may be having classes, right? So I'm going to go to West End and take some classes there that cost $25. But I know that the West End is a trusted space as well. They're not just going to hire somebody off the street. Hey, teach this class. No, they're bringing somebody in who may not have as much experience as Kim Fields, but someone who can teach the craft of acting, right? So that's also a possibility. And then you say, okay, you know what? There's several studios here in Atlanta. Let me go audit a class. Audit means I can sit in there for one session and watch and see if I like what I see for free. But you just have to reach out to the studio and say, hey, I would love to audit one of your classes on whatever days that I can, and they'll respond back to you. But most classes you can audit. Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we learn here at Blendblazers Podcast. We really learn. Anything you want to leave with the viewers or listeners?
Man, one more thing that I wish I would have known, and I'm learning right now. Start your own LLC. Start your own LLC. And then from there, you can get into the whole S Corp and the whole loan out company, but start your own LLC and you operate as much as you can in that. Have them pay your LLC, not you as an individual. Have whatever production, whatever play you're in, have them pay the LLC. And then your LLC pays you as the actor, because as taxes are real. So that's one thing I'm learning as well. Wow.
You should learn them in handcuffs.
Amen.
So many people learned that in handcuffs.
They did. You're right. Oh, John. Okay. But essentially, my biggest note to anybody, any up and coming actor, anyone who wants to be in this industry is you have to fall in love with the process, right? You have to fall in love with it. Trust the process and fall in love with the journey. Because the journey is going to go here, and it's going to go here. But if you're in love with it, it doesn't matter how it ebbs and flows, because you're in love, and you have to love the craft. If you don't love the craft, then it may be kind of tricky. If you're doing it for a celebrity, if you're doing it for money, it may get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If it's not a passion.
If it's not a passion, maybe reconsider it. You know? And then the only time you lose is when you quit. If you don't quit, you won't lose. You look at some people, you say, wow, Sterling K. Brown, man, he's doing his thing. Sterling K. Brown was acting in 1980.
Really?
Yes, bro. As an extra. And so this thing takes time. It's a marathon.
Literally.
It is not a sprint.
Literally. And trust me, I know.
Yes, indeed. You know,
I
Ricardo.
definitely know. Like it's not something you. But if you're passionate,
about
then
it,
giving up doesn't become an option. It's no longer an option.
It's not an option.
All right.
Amen.
True words have never been spoken. All right. So special thanks to my first guest
Yay.
on our Roku. Okay. So those of you that do not know, I recently launched my own Roku channel.
Woo.
You know, raise roof.
Yes.
So you definitely can check it out if you have a Roku on. The channel is called Blend Television Channel. It's on Roku. Download it, add it to your Roku device. If you don't, you can go to ricecommunity.com, Rice with a W, and everything that is mirrored to the channel. So my channel, unlike a lot of others, which I will boast this, we stream live content 24/7. So anytime you go on the channel or the website, you can watch stuff live, and it's all my content. So all the TV show seasons, all the podcast seasons, which there is 4 of everything, special segments, which is where you'll see him at. Actually, I haven't done y'all's yet. I need to put y'all's up.
Okay.
So all that's on the Roku channels, and it's all original content. So you can turn there right now and something's playing, whether it be a TV show, the podcast, whatever. We're a learning annex. So we have great guests on that talk about what they do. They're leaders in their segments, in their fields, because that's what we do at the Leadership Blend. So yeah, we will see you guys next Monday, same time, same place. Special thanks again to our special guest, Mr. Jason Louder. And yeah, we'll see you same time, same place on Blendblazers Podcast with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.
Hey.